Feeling good, like I should. Just went and took a walk around the neighborhood. We just finished our second in-depth council meeting on affordable housing, and I am feeling good and super grateful for this council. There's going to be a lot here, but maybe a couple months ago I expressed some displeasure with fellow council members and where they were. And that's not a personal attack. It's just my honest understanding of where we are. And I'm going to call it like I see it. And today, also calling it like I see it and saying thank you. We were looking at the phasing and financing of the Lumberyard development, Burlingame II, as well as balancing that with other opportunities to acquire land for future use, to shore up capital reserves and maintenance for those already in the system, to buy down deed restrictions that are lapsing. And I just want to say, Rachel Richards, right off the bat, thank you so much. Your institutional knowledge is tremendous, and thank you for orienting us to the opportunity to raise additional revenues. That could come in a variety of ways. It could look like rejiggering our existing funding streams to reflect the actual impact on housing. Historically, that's been commercial, but really it's residential development that's driving it now. And so what does that look like? Extending existing revenue streams, the RETT, sales tax, these are things that expire. So making sure that we have the opportunity and we're planning ahead so that we can continue those funding streams out into the future. Which then leads into our ability to leverage debt on capital, which we are looking at as well. And finally, the addition of new revenue streams, specifically looking at new creative ways to realign who's paying for housing by that which is usurping it. Rachel, in particular, brought up models from around the world of vacancy taxes. Now, I think of these quite differently. It's not about a vacancy tax. To me, it's about community displacement, right? What is the reason why we can't have people here? More and more, it is because of empty, large second homes. Now, what's really beautiful about this, in my mind, is it's entirely class neutral. It's saying that rather than taxing the rich to help the poor, pejorative terms, but it's what we've done. Instead, we're going to say what we actually care about is community. We accept all, whether you are a billionaire or a dishwasher ski waxer making 25 grand. If you're here, you're part of this community. You are part of the Aspen tradition of mixing races, classes, and backgrounds. Less racist than we'd like, but hopefully more in the future when we can add diversity to our community. But if you're here, you don't owe us anything except for your presence as a community member. But if you are going to be here 2 weeks a year and displace the community that frankly needs to be here to serve you when you arrive, we're going to ask you to pay for housing. And if you don't want to pay, you have the option to house someone at your house, your groundskeeper, your property manager. I think that that is a solution that better addresses the reality of the impact and is more fair. So Rachel, thank you for bringing all that forward. I want to thank Anne for making sure that we are focused on capital reserves and maintenance as well as new production of housing. You know, you can't responsibly bring a new car home until you clean out the garage. You shouldn't cross the Atlantic until you patch the holes in the boat. And we have a responsibility to existing homeowners to pay our fair share where the problem is ours. And where it's not, we don't. But we should live in that reality, and we are going to set aside money to do that, which is the responsible thing to do. I also want to thank Ward. Ward, who said, the housing problem is today, not tomorrow, and we have a responsibility to deliver housing as soon as we can because the need is now, and he is spot on. And if that means taking out debt, we have good revenue streams to do so. You pay for a house as you live in it. That's what a mortgage is. And if the city needs to do that, then it should. If it doesn't, then it doesn't need to. And there are other ways we can address that, which we talked about, which include partnerships with other entities. Think the schools who are saving money for their own housing. Can we partner on a project to help reduce the city's need. In addition, we are working on land use coordination, which looks at underlying zoning so that people build affordable housing in the credits program. A housing unit that they create is one that we don't have to raise money or build, right? So the total number of units is where you start, but then you subtract units delivered through partnership or through other entities, and then you can figure out what we actually need. And lastly, I just want to thank Tori for being the expert moderator that you are, for making sure that everyone is heard, that opinions are counted, and that we have clarity moving forward. So today I am really grateful to be part of our team. I will continue to call it like I see it, and I'm grateful to let you know that we are moving forward with Burlingame III and the Lumberyard, as well as holding funds available for other land acquisition opportunities for future building, and holding dollars to make sure that we are managing capital reserves, maintenance, and other things that we should be responsible for. And the last thing I will say is that I heard majority support for working with APCHA on capital reserves, on public outreach, and answering the big questions that we need to ask as a community to garner support for all of these projects, which really comes down to who are we actually housing? How many of us want to live here? And what will it take to get there? And those are the questions that we have to answer so that we know where we are going. So thank you to all. Do get pumped and know that a public outreach on the Lumberyard is heading your way relatively soon, and I will get that information out ad nauseum. All right. Bye, y'all.